Guys, I'm literally watching the game right now. We've got an update. Ohio State officially a 50-burger. Was that C.J. Stroud's 5th touchdown pass? I think it was. Wow. Folks, we've got the major college football breaking week 3 where I discuss every ranked game. This is my instant reaction, so let's go through all the matchups. I got this brightness real low and talk about it. Number 1, we've got Georgia, 39-22 over Kent State. Guys, Georgia, they were like 45-point favorites. They don't even come close to covering. I called this. It's crazy. I will guarantee this right now. The University of Georgia will not win the national championship this year. If you really think somebody named Stetson Bennett is winning back-to-back national titles as a quarterback in college football, you just don't understand how college football works, ladies and gentlemen. Georgia, upset alert. They do pull it out against Kent State. Wow, that game was actually on the SEC Network Plus, so it was like off the grid. But Georgia does get the win. They do not cover. Next, we've got Michigan 34-27 over Maryland. So Michigan is pretty much exactly what we thought they were. They're a lot less talented on defense. That's my main concern for Michigan. I think their offense, even with the loss of Hassan Haskins, has a little bit more of a higher ceiling. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy had some major rookie mistakes. The dude is running like 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage trying to scramble. You just can't be doing that too often. He was doing that a little bit too much. They do have a little bit higher ceiling, but the defense, there's no Aiden Hutchinson, there's no Ajabo, there's no Daxton Hill, there's no playmakers. And I thought Maryland, who, by the way, had basically the worst play happen to them in college football you can possibly have, where you fumble the opening kickoff, basically giving Michigan the possession to start the first half and the second half, and Michigan gets a free 7 points. So literally the worst start Maryland could have. They hang in there. They easily cover the 17. Blake Corum, crazy game. I didn't realize he had like 250 rush yards or whatever. It was like, I thought he had like 170. He ends up with 250. Michigan wins, but I think the romanticizing of Michigan and how great they were, it was just, I was trying to pound into people's heads. They're literally facing nobody. And when I mean nobody, I mean a team like Colorado State would lose to Illinois by 50. That's how bad Colorado State is. Okay, that's Michigan's non-conference schedule. It wasn't that it was bad. It was that it was so bad you could put together a non-conference schedule fully of Division II teams and it would be better than that. But people romanticize. They're like, Ohio State struggled, Alabama struggled, Michigan hasn't struggled against anyone, because they literally didn't face anyone. If Notre Dame were going to face UConn tomorrow, it would be 52-0. Those teams are so bad. They're so much worse than people actually think they are. So that's the thing with Michigan. People just were like, oh, they're crushing everyone. No, I was trying to explain to people, no, they're not facing anyone. They get Maryland. They get basically handed a free 7 points and the ball to start the second half. And Tagovailoa gets injured, whatever. I'm telling you, Michigan, they are just not as talented as people think, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Clemson over Wake Forest in 2 overtimes. We have to give credit to DJ Uiagalelei. He played like a 5-star QB. Finally, great game for him. Clemson secondary really young, and they apparently have a new defensive coordinator who is just horrible at his job. I thought Clemson would have been able to get way more pressure on Sam Hartman. Sam Hartman throws for a school record 6 touchdown passes. Clemson, give him credit. Give DJ credit for getting the win, hanging tough, overcoming the bad defense. This is not a good sign for Clemson football. The secondary is young, pass interference left and right. It's crazy. They do get the win over a Wake Forest team. I really haven't been impressed by Wake Forest this year personally. Of course, they barely beat Liberty, and then I think Liberty struggled with Akron this week, right? So that's Wake Forest for you. Next, we've got kind of a nothing game. Penn State over Central Michigan, 33-14. A little bit dicey there late in the first half, but Penn State pulls away, wins it easily, did not cover the spread. Central Michigan was able to cover. I think Penn State was minus 26 or something. And then the under, I was telling everyone, there's no way. They put the over-under at this game at 61. It got bet up to 63. I don't know why. The under was a lock. Next, we've got Baylor over Iowa State. Trust in Baylor football. We love Baylor football. They get the win 31-24. They completely controlled this game. No clue why Iowa State was 3-point favorites going into this one. Baylor's a sound team. They are going to play to their talent level. They're not going to make mistakes. They get the win 31-24. We've got the only FCS game. Pittsburgh beats Rhode Island 45-24. Personally, I didn't see this one. I did see Pittsburgh gave up 14 points in the first half. That's not a good sign. I think there's a decent chance Pitt could be unranked tomorrow. We will see. We've got the big-time 3:30 CBS game. Tennessee beats Florida 38-33. Really fun game here. Both teams basically at 600 yards of total offense. Anthony Richardson, I think, threw for 420 passing yards. Really, really fun game. What we all expected. I said the over 62 was going to hit. It easily hits, even though it was kind of weird. It was like in the first half, they both had 300 yards of offense, but it was only 14-10. It was really odd, but the over still ends up hitting. Great win for Tennessee. There's a lot of life into that program. A great offense, even missing the receiver who was out today, Tillman. They get the win. They kind of controlled the entire game. They were always leading, and they end up winning. Florida ends up covering. They were plus 10.5. Texas, unfortunately, loses to Texas Tech 37-34 in overtime without Quinn Ewers. It's tough. I mean, Texas Tech is not a bad team, but if you're Texas, these are games you got to win. If you want to be an elite program, if you want to be back, I know it's with your backup quarterback, but these are games you got to win. They end up losing in overtime. Texas Tech, not a bad team. But guys, remember, the thing with Texas Tech, this is a team that should have lost week 2 to Houston. They were a 4th and 20 away from losing. It was a total sham. I had Houston. I forget, they were minus 3 or something. I had them. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And they completed a 4th and 20. Next, oh my God. So get a load of this. Middle Tennessee State goes into the Hard Rock and beats Miami 45-31. And Middle Tennessee State's quarterback threw 25 pass attempts and had 400 passing yards. If you're Miami, burn it to the ground. Burn it to the ground. You need a new stadium. It's disgusting. Mario Cristobal, that is his fault. That is totally on the head coach. He did not have those players ready. They were not focused, and they got whooped that entire game. And I lost out on a great parlay, and all I needed was the money line. I didn't have them minus 26. I had them minus 2,500. 2,500 on the money line as as my Christmas bonus, because I had a money line parlay for $200, and I'm like, oh, Miami has a money line option. Let me get some new shoes. I can make an extra $30 multiplying it. And, oh, my God. And it was the one team that lost. It was the one team in the parlay that lost. They're minus 25,000. 2,500, whatever. We've got the disgusting sex slave, Oregon. It makes no sense. Guys, what happened in this game? Washington State was up by 2 scores with 5 minutes left, folks. How does this happen? How does this happen? Seriously? Oregon ends up winning, and this only makes it worse with the whole Georgia thing. I've been saying, I got into an argument with a Georgia fan. I said, listen, your team is getting bull banned. It is happening. He's like, for what? I'm like, for collusion. You can't blatantly collude with another head coach. That is illegal. That is cheating. That is why they're getting banned. But guys, this Oregon team, it's disgusting. This is not right. There's literally sexual exploitation going on right now in college football. Am I the only one that has the courage to call out this disgusting stuff? Oh my God. We've got Ole Miss over Tulsa. Can we just stop with Ole Miss? Can we just unrank them? They won by 8 against Tulsa, folks. They're not good. I'm sorry. Kentucky, guys, it is so sad what happened to Kentucky football. They went from this lovable underdog program. Now they're facing a bunch of MAC schools, barely winning. They're overrated. They're ranked 8th. They're like the Nazis of college football right now. It's disgusting what's going on with Kentucky football. They beat another MAC school by 8 points. I'm sure they face Bowling Green next week. That's just great. And then we've got Texas A&M beating Arkansas. Texas A&M, it's the theme with them. Low-scoring, close games. That's all Texas A&M plays. And they end up beating Arkansas, who was overranked. I mean, think about this with Arkansas. Last week, Arkansas is ranked 10th. They face an FCS team. They're losing to the FCS team by 10 points in the fourth quarter. And they come back and win, and they stay at number 10. And then they lose to a bad Texas A&M team that has a mentally retarded offense. So that is the situation with the SEC. Alabama crushes Vanderbilt 55-3. They cover the spread. We were looking at that. Bama minus 40.5. They easily cover. NC State does not cover. There are some people that are pissed about that. Many people had NC State minus 38.5. It looked like a lock. They were up by a ton at the end of the first half. They lay an egg in the second half, and they end up not covering against UConn. UConn loses only by 31 against NC State. The Ohio State-Wisconsin game right now is a blowout. So I guess I'll just give my summary on it. This game, I think ABC is probably pissed that they picked this game to be the Saturday night game. This game by the time there was about 3 minutes left in the first quarter, this game was dead. Like dead. And Herbstreit and Fowler didn't help matters at all. Those guys were acting like it was an exhibition. Like they were like making fun of Wisconsin. I was looking at the clock. It was like 12 minutes left in the second quarter, and they're talking about like a blowout. So it was just not a good game. Very boring. Ohio State's offense is crazy. They drop another 50-burger. They easily cover the spread. The Buckeyes end up winning. C.J. Stroud, Cade Stover, the best tight end in America. I'm kidding. But seriously, Cade Stover's crazy. And then Ohio State, I'm a little bit concerned about the pass rush. It never seems like Ohio State can get 3 or 4 sacks in a game. And then we've got this Kansas State-Oklahoma game. We've got this Kansas State-Oklahoma game. And right now, I can't make a call on it. Kansas State is winning 34-26. I understand this is annoying to people. By the time this video finally gets uploaded, the game's going to be over. If Kansas State does win this game, this is hypothetical. Maybe Oklahoma comes back. What a major stain that is on Oklahoma. Kansas State just laid an egg last week against Tulane. And then this is horrible for the Big 12 if Kansas, or maybe it's not. Maybe they'll rank Kansas State. But man, Kansas State losing last week to Tulane, that really hurts them. They were my dark horse to make a New Year's 6 game. You can't lose to Tulane. But if you beat Oklahoma, I don't know. It's 34-27 right now. We've got Wyoming and BYU just underway. BYU's up 7-3. And then I do have Utah minus 15. Utah right now is up 7-0. 4th and 1 on the Arizona State 6-yard line. I wonder if they go for that. They're up 7. They're looking good to cover that. And then we've got Washington up 7-0 on Stanford. I love the under. They're late in the first quarter at 7-0. The under 61.5 for that game. So guys, the major stuff, good for Clemson. They get a big win. Michigan is exactly who we thought they were. Maybe you could make an argument. Ohio State, are they the best team in the nation? I don't know. The defense needs to show me some things. They need to get more healthy. There was a concerning thing with JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba. There's like a rumor that he's out for the year. I don't know if that's true or not, but they were showing him on the sideline. But he tore his hamstring or something in practice. I don't know. Ohio State should be able to overcome that. It is. Are they in the red zone? No, they're not. It's 4th and 1. They're going for it, though. But, guys, that is going to, I think, do it. Baylor with a big win. Good for Baylor. But, guys, that is going to do it for my official. And then Oregon. Yeah. I mean, guys, that Oregon game, it makes no sense. How are you up? Washington State almost didn't cover. I was like, I was like, you know, what is going on here? I had Washington State plus 7.5. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. Not only is Washington State going to cover, they're going to win by double digits. And then I'm like, 2 minutes later, they're down by 10 or something like. I'm like, how is this? This doesn't even. What did you get? Like 5 pick sixes in a row? Come on, what happened? I mean, Jesus. But folks, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.